Well, I'm here again on a cold winter's evening. It's December, not long before Christmas now, and all three rods are out. It's only been thawed out a few days. It's been really, really cold. I've had a right old cold snap, and I'm back on it tonight at the first opportunity, so hopefully I'm going to get something. All the rods are set. I'm in a different swim. I'm actually down the bottom end today. Just feels nice down here. There's quite a cold wind blowing up the other end, and I don't know, it feels good. Found some nice little silt troughs. It's gin clear, so I was able to see them from the boat, which I've used to drop two of the hook baits. The left hand rod went down with a nice thud as well, so not on gravel, just on a nice bit of silt. I'm fishing chod rigs, you know, in the slightly choddier areas, slightly thicker silt. Don't like fishing on, you know, machine gun gravel. It's just too obvious for me, and I think the carp get pretty wise and cute over it, and I just think they're more confident feeding silt, so that's what I'm targeting. I've got the old crabbings and hook baits on two, and the Baitworks Fruity one on the other. Hopefully they're going to work. Just got to wait and see. It's just getting dark now, so I'm going to go and have some dinner, and you never know, I'm hoping I'm going to have something to report back to you. Looks good. See what happens, eh? Well, that was a difficult night's fishing. Half the lake froze yet again, and although it was soon thawed out pretty quickly as soon as the sun's got up, it's made the fishing difficult, as you can imagine. Didn't have not even a liner in the night, didn't see anything at first light this morning. You know, I put the kettle on nice and early, sat there watching the water, not even a bubble. It really does look lifeless out there, and it's no surprise really, because the water is freezing. I got a welly full last night, and yeah, it was cold. So I've got nothing to report to you. I've got no fish to show you or anything, and I guess that's just December fishing really. And we're all going through the motions at this time of year. We're gagging to get a bite, and it's just not happening. So I've got another trip out tomorrow. My mate Rich, we're doing a couple of articles, and I might even sling the rods out. There's a few fish in there. It's Tingrith near Luton, and there's quite a few fish in there, so you never know, we might get a bite. And yeah, hopefully I'll have something to show you there. As a result, this morning I thought I would show you a couple of little tricks and bits that I think have really made my year really. I've been fishing a lake that's next door to here, and I've been lucky enough to catch some amazing carp. Including my target fish, which was a linear, which weighed 40 pound 4 ounces. I caught a new PB common at 41 or 41.6, can't remember off the top of my head, and all of the A-team, and I was sure that I was doing it right. Well, the results prove it. You know, I was doing it right, and I'm pretty sure that it's because I was doing something a little bit different from the norm. I mean, the year before I stuck to particles and fished, you know, tiger nuts and bits like that over the top, your typical particle way really. And this year I've completely changed, because last year I was getting lots of bites, but they were from some of the smaller fish. This year I've gone to my typical big fish rigs, you know, hinge stiff rigs with red fish meal baits on. It was Baitworks Atlantic Heat, and they seem to have been singling out the big ones. However, I've kept that particle approach. One thing that we learned from the underwater filming was that particles get the carp feeding. They get them grabbing about on the bottom. They get them honed into the swim. You know, they give off oils and smells and release all sorts of sweets and sweet tasting aromas and everything in the water. You know, it just triggers the feeding activity far more than just boilies on their own. So that's what I've done. I've fed particles over the top, bits of sweet corn, bits of hemp, bits of nut, chopped boilies, and just, well, we call it the buffet theory. Our at work calls it the buffet theory, and it certainly is. You know, they've got loads of choice there. and there's nothing there that will get them fixed and preoccupied on one thing, so it's always going to keep them grabbing around. And because I've introduced whole boilies and that in the mix as well, I can use a whole boilie hook bait, so that's an important thing, you know. You always have something that resembles your hook bait in your mix, and it's worked really well this year. The other thing is hook sharpness is absolutely key. One thing I'd say is always check your hook point, and I mean I go as far as actually sharpening them at times, and it makes a real difference having a sharp hook on the end, you know. All too often people just use that same old hook, and trust me, you need it to be sharp as possible. And there's a little test that I do for that. I'm just going to show you this now. One of my favourite hook patterns is a size 6 choddy. That's what's caught all my big uns this year. And all you need to do is get a hook out of the packet, and what I do is hold it by the shank like that, and I place it on my nail, and basically if you push it into your nail and it doesn't slide across at all, it's digging in, you know, like a claw of a predatory bird, you know. If it's digging in like that and not moving at all, then you've got yourself a sharp one. However, you'll find if it's blunt, you'll dig it in and it will literally just pull across like that. It'll pull across smoothly and won't leave any sort of graze in your nail. If it's sharp, it will dig in and it won't move. Don't do it too hard, obviously, because you'll blunt the hook, but just nice and lightly. If you push it in there and it doesn't move, then you've got yourself a sharp bad boy. And like I said, this makes a huge difference. I'd say probably the most important factor in your rig is your hook point, you know. It's got to be mega sharp, and if it isn't, you ain't going to get as many bites. So nice little tip that. Other than that, I'd say probably the other thing that I've changed this year is the spots that I'm fishing. I've stayed clear of gravel this year. I call it machine gun gravel. You know the type of machine gun gravel that when you're pulling a marker or lead across, it's like, you know, like a bit like a machine gun. And I'm staying away from that. It's so clear. I've fed it so many times and had bait left there. I've watched carp on a spot like that, and they're so wary of your rig. No matter how good your rig is, they're always going to get away with it on that sort of thing. You know, you will get pickups, of course you will, but they're pretty cute, you know. They will get rid of rigs on that sort of bottom. So I've gone for like the choddier areas, the real smooth, choddy areas, I mean like a real smoother silt that doesn't smell too much. It's really hard to describe, but it's almost a cleaner silt that's been fed on. There'll be flecks of gravel in it, you know. They're the spots that I'm looking for, not the choddy, horrible, smelly stuff, but the smoother, cleaner silt you can present a rig on. Your lead will still dig into this, but it won't be pulling everything underneath and burying your rig out of sight. You know, this will be the ideal silt, and it was perfect for presenting a hinge stiff rig in, because the lead sunk in, the leader sunk in nicely, even the fluorocarbon hook link didn't. It just left that little section of mouth trap sitting proud, and I guess the pop-up was almost acting as a bottom bait, because that was actually sinking in a little bit too, so it was just sitting there wafting, ready to be engulfed. And it worked wonders this year, you know. I caught my target fish, and it was happy days really. So as for this session, I've got to pack up now and go to work, but I'll be back down hopefully for a quick session before Christmas. And like I said, I'm out tomorrow with Big Bernard, so you never know, I might winkle a couple of smaller ones tomorrow, and if I do, I'll show you them on camera. If I don't speak to you before then, have a great Christmas, and I'll be back on it early next year to show you more fishing.